Hello, welcome to another interview with Andrea. How are you, Andrea?
I'm good. It's like 8:30
Oh, wow.
on a Sunday morning. Yeah, so it's like kind of a little earlier than I usually get up, but I'm in good spirits.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you've been in typology for a while, or are you just new to yeah?
Um, Typology meaning OP or
Like
just
everything.
Oh no. I feel like I've been doing like various types of personality tests since I was in sixth grade,
Oh,
probably.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably started with astrology and
Okay,
just moved up from there.
right.
Um, but yeah.
Interesting. And so then how did you get into OP?
So Dave Powers. He used to do like Myers-Briggs videos on
Right.
YouTube, and yeah, I remember really liking his videos, so I followed his account. And then when the whole like OP thing came out, I got like a YouTube notification about this
Right.
person following for like years that hasn't posted a single thing, and suddenly he's doing this new thing. So I, yeah, went to check it out.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I remember being like involved in like the pretty early
So
stages as well
so were you typed as something before you joined OP?
with Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was definitely typed and yeah, I was typed probably like a couple of years before OP, and I had always really identified with my
With your
Myers-Briggs type.
type. Wow. Did you
Yeah.
end up getting the same type in
Nope, I
OP?
ended up getting
Okay,
something.
nice. Okay, so what was your original type?
My original type was an ENFP.
ENFP. Oh, okay. EP. All
Yeah.
right.
And I
Interesting.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
remember telling people that like I really identified with ENFP, and
right.
like when I took like my test online, like they gave me percentages as well as to like, what percentage E, what versus what
Right.
percentage
Yeah, yeah,
I.
yeah.
And I was like over 80% on all of the letters. So
Oh,
I
wow.
told people I was like a typical
Wow.
ENFP. But I
And
just,
before you got typed, did you think you were maybe something else? Or you wrote down ENFP?
I feel like when I started getting into OP and like learning about well, I first started learning about tidal waves. And that's when I started kind of having like second thoughts. And I was like, oh, do
Right.
I really have my ENFP tidal waves? Is it really that clear cut?
Right.
Um, yeah. So I remember
Interesting.
emailing Dave and Shannon about kind of some questions I had, and then Shannon was like, "Oh, if I were you, I would maybe think about EJ."
Yeah. Interesting. So you're not a lead observer in the end then.
I am a lead observer in the end.
Nice. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So, but you're the other observer then? Oh, I?
I would like. I'm like still like I'm like pretty close to being an ENFP, just not
Okay.
quite.
All right. So then you are, yeah, okay. Nice. So then
Mm-hmm.
that was quite accurate, the test, if at least it stuck you there as an EP. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Awesome. Okay, so
yeah.
then the question is NE or SE then?
I'm an SE.
SE. Wow.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. When I did my typing, like Dave, like I don't know how the typing works now, but like when I did it, they sent me back like a video, like
Yeah, yeah,
two
yeah.
videos. And Dave said in one of the videos that like I identified with my eye because of a fascination with the demon. Um,
Oh, interesting. So you're
yeah.
your lead play then?
I am lead consume.
So it's not really a demon then, your eye.
No, eye is well, my OI is my demon.
Your oh your OI. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, right.
My
Yeah,
NI
yeah.
is my so I identify with my eye because of a fascination with the demon.
Right. Okay. Okay. So you typed yourself as a lead NI or something?
No, I typed myself as a lead NE. So I thought I was
NE.
an
Oh,
to be an ESFP.
interesting.
So it like
Interesting.
that was the only thing that Myers-Briggs got me wrong. So it, yeah,
Nice.
all
Okay.
is considered pretty accurate for me.
And so then in the end you're a TI then in the end?
I'm an FI, so I'm an
FI. So
SES.
then okay. All
So the
right.
only thing Myers-Briggs really got wrong was the SE versus NE.
All right. So now we got you as an ESFP. That's
Mm-hmm.
like wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your SE. What is an SE for you?
Yeah. So I feel like mm, my really big like realization moment for me was when okay, so backstory. I've been with my boyfriend for 6 years now. So
Nice.
I've been dating the same guy for 6 years, and we graduated from college maybe like 3 years ago, and we started talking about like the prospect of longer term commitment then.
Right.
And I was always like before we had started like first having those conversations, I like
Right.
never at all. So when we first started, like, oh, I knew I wanted to marry you a long time ago. Like I was just like hoping you would like reach the same conclusion soon. And when we first had that conversation, we were still in college, and I was just like, "Oh, hold up, that's a
Yeah.
little too much. Like, it's too fast. I don't want to think about marriage. I don't want to think about anything apart from graduation. Like, I just don't want to have those conversations yet."
Right.
But when he, like, what that conversation triggered in me was that I started like SE gathering, whether like my boyfriend would be a good like potential husband and a good potential father. And after maybe like a year or two of that like SE gathering, it suddenly hit me like a ton of bricks that like actually, yes, I do think that I notice a lot of things about him that would, make a good husband and a good father, and that he is someone that I would potentially like to marry.
So
So
just to
that was like,
yeah, interesting. So just to clarify, when you're talking about SE gather, you're talking about like looking how he behaves in the moment, not really remembering how he behaves,
yeah, like we had already been like dating for like three, four
paying
years.
attention.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I have no idea whether I want to marry this guy, which is like saying a lot because like 3 and 4 years is a long time to get to know a person.
Right.
Yeah, and then like when I started SE gathering is when I kind of like started like cataloging like moments in which I feel like, oh, like I like that and I like that and that's good and that's bad. And then
Interesting. Is that a
yeah,
masculine SE or a feminine SE?
masculine.
Oh, okay. All right. So then your memory should be okay. You have a good memory, you think, compared to others?
I don't know. That's the one thing about masculine S that like I don't know if I can stand
Right.
behind.
Right.
Yeah, I if I really commit something to memory, then I can remember it for a pretty long
Yeah.
time.
Like your
But
experiences. Can you remember your experiences and your gathering? Yeah.
I mean, sure, like with the
Yeah.
with the important things and the things I try to remember. But like if you ask me like what I ate for dinner yesterday, then I'll be like, like
Yeah.
I gotta think
Right.
about it for a while.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. But things that are FI valuable to you, you will remember. Interesting.
maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I do remember a lot of things about my relationships with other people, though. So yeah, I
Right.
guess like like an FI valuable thing.
Right. So okay, so your lead consume. So
Mhm.
what kind of things do you like to consume? SF consume or
Um, I like learning about other people.
okay.
As people. So, yeah, a lot of the consume moments I really remember involve just like learning things about friends that I hadn't known before, which could, I guess, kind of be a play thing
Yeah,
too.
that's what
But
I was thinking. Are you play second?
yeah,
Oh, okay. All right.
but otherwise, if you're talking about purely like consuming when I'm alone, oh, I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I watch a fair amount of YouTube videos.
Is there like a
Um,
general theme in everything you're trying to consume or it's just all over the place?
It is kind of all over the place. Well, with audiobooks, I have a very specific type of books I like. Like I have a very specific type that I like with
Right.
audiobooks. I describe them as kind of like action movies translated to audiobooks.
Okay.
So impact like a lot of superpower stuff and
Right.
like that kind of thing. Like and like super assassins and yeah. And then with my YouTube videos, I started with like makeup videos when I was in middle school and then yeah, so follow a lot of makeup gurus, and now there's some mental health people in there. and some news people on there as well.
Right.
So
So
it
it's
is
all
kind of
it's all stuff that's decided by your FI, what you FI like, or is there some TE decisions in there too of what you want to consume?
the news stuff. I would say is TE.
Yeah.
Like I
Right.
wouldn't care about news if like it was socially normal to not know about news.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so then your FI, how do you experience your FI? How does it other than what we just discussed?
Um, I would also say that like well, so I'm a Christian and I've been Christian for maybe like 4 years or so. So like sometime in college, like was I started believing in God and specifically the Christian God. And yeah, it was kind of like a weird experience for me because like a lot of people a lot of people in my university at that time, like when they first get into Christianity, the church immediately kind of became their tribe. But
Right.
for me, like I had already established a tribe outside of the church. So when I got into Christianity, I like didn't really leave my tribe. So in university, my main tribe was still kind of my non-Christian group.
Right.
Um, so kind of living in that in between, like I had to like really like FI hold on to my Christian values. Otherwise, my
Oh,
tribe.
okay.
But it is kind of like weird in a sense because like Christianity values is like tribal values. It just wasn't the
But
tribe
for
that
you
I.
it was personal. For you it was identity.
Yeah, and like for me, it was an identity. Like it was like principles that I knew are significantly different than what my friends hold. And yeah,
Right.
while I love my friends to bits, I know that like there's nothing they can do or say that can sway me from my
Yeah,
FI.
that's really interesting because like yeah, because it's like if maybe you were lead FE, you would like want to sort of have congruency with others, but because it's your individuality, you're able to separate it from the group with your FI. And so is it a masculine FI too then?
It is a masculine FI.
There you
Yeah.
go. Wow.
Yeah, and I felt like it was good for me to like have my FI values as well because I thought that like it would make me a better friend, a better person.
And having an
To
identity that's separate from the tribe.
hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It does get difficult at times though. I feel like after I started working, I started having a lot more kind of decider tidal waves or like decider struggles. Um, so yeah, it like it has I have kind of like experienced more of a
Right.
shift.
Yeah, because like that really sticks your identity against the tribe identity, and you really have to start juggling the two. So how did you get through that?
Um, well, I think specifically with the Christian thing, like it becomes more difficult as I started working. Because like I also work in San Francisco, and although like Berkeley is like a pretty liberal college, you can like get by without like talking about politics a lot of times.
Right.
Um, well, depending on the social circle you're in,
But
and with
politics
my
is your identity? Do you feel like politics is your identity?
it's something that causes me a lot of decider pain, I would say, because like once I started working in San Francisco, and then like Trump became president, and um, there's a lot of talk about abortion and transgenderism and homosexuality, and then
Right.
I'll have to go back and forth between my non-Christian friends and my Christian friends because obviously they have different views on different things, and then
Wow, yeah.
feeling that like my two like the two like groups I identify myself with, like they like fight against each other and like they can't reach an agreement, that really hurt my
Right.
feminine PE,
Your
I
feminine
would say.
TE, yeah, for sure. Because you want that agreement. You want people to have the same, not necessarily values, but same ideals at least.
Or be able to be friends and talk about
Right.
things in a logical, calm manner,
Right.
which you don't see a lot in like US politics. So
So would
that's
you be
been
like, so would you be like, for me, it's like this, but you guys do you, or like, is that kind of the way the arguments went?
um I try to do that, but sometimes doesn't really work out because,
Right.
you know, a lot of like for a lot of conservative Christians, like homosexuality is a sin. And that's like I'm like scared saying this out loud because a lot of
Yeah, of
like
course, for sure.
it affects like it like it, they see it as like a personal attack on their identity, and I don't
Right.
want that.
Right,
But
for sure.
with conservative Christians who do believe that, if you say if you don't if you don't acknowledge that homosexuality is a sin, then you're going against the Bible, which is like the most important objective standard that they align themselves to.
Right.
So yeah, just kind of going back and forth between that was very exhausting.
Right.
And yeah, and then for me personally, like I do believe that homosexuality is a sin, but I do kind of still love my, you know, like just
Yeah,
my
yeah. So for your
I don't
identity, but I mean, like, so you didn't really get to the tribal agreement. You weren't able to resolve that, and that was what was painful for you.
what was painful for me is knowing that no is thinking that like if my friends knew what my FI values are, then they won't want to
Uh,
be my
wow,
yeah, so that was
that's a schism. Yeah.
yeah. And I think it's going to be something that's like kind of an ongoing struggle. So
Right.
and I think that was like what really threw me off at first with my type, because like I do have a lot of decider struggles, and I thought I could be a decider at first.
Right. Yeah. But you wouldn't have been able to navigate that well if you weren't a double decider. Like you were really navigating between. Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah. 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 I just like I'm still like kind of like thinking about like when I said here that I believe that homosexuality is a sin and what kind of ramifications that might bring, but
Yeah.
we'll
But I mean,
survive.
they're like, okay, let's sort of like calm the tribe down. They're still people, right? You still love them. You still
Yeah,
want
no.
what's best for them, right?
Hmm.
And you
And
just happen to have a personal value that's different from the tribe, which is perfectly fine. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah.
So, yeah, you're not telling everyone else what to believe.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
So so the decider, so you guys can all calm down and still love Andrea because Andrea's still awesome and she's being very honest, which is very, very good for this kind of thing. So thank you. I very much appreciate that. So, yeah.
Of course.
Awesome.
For sure.
Great. Okay, so then we talked about your TE problems. We talked about your FI values, your identity. So what about your NI? How do you see your NI?
Um, it's it's kind of weird too because like I think I do have like a random obsession with my NI. Like when I
Yeah.
was in college, I um like I was in a lot of kind of like leadership positions in student organizations. So that does require me to be organized. That does require me to be able to project into the future and know how to know how to blast, and know how to, um, you know,
What's
organize information in my head.
what's your third animal?
Blast is
Blast.
my third.
Okay, so then you're missing sleep. Interesting.
Mhm. Yeah. So like, and like even with like planning social events and stuff, like I was always like really adamant about like planning everything ahead of time and then sticking to the plan. Um, so yeah, I feel like I did get to use my NI a lot, but like I did hate using my NI, and I feel insecure about my NI, which is why I feel like I always had that like weird obsession, like, oh, we got a plan.
Right,
And
right. Yeah. The insecurity is something that's pretty common for your main demon, yeah, for your inferior function. So you had insecurities around planning?
yeah, I had insecurities about planning, and I think that made me wanted to hold on to my planning more. Um,
Oh, okay. But it's a feminine plan, like holding on to your plan. You wouldn't abandon your plan?
um, yeah, so I don't really see the feminine plan in myself, I would say.
Right.
Like yeah, I'm pretty adamant about like, sticking to the plan. And oftentimes it's like other people telling me that like, hey, like the tribe doesn't like this plan. Maybe we should change it. Or
Right.
like and then when people tell me like, oh, we got to change the plan, I go like, oh my gosh, like, what to do now? um, so yeah, I don't really know about the feminine NI. I think the feminine NI for me, well, planning an event is very different from planning out the rest of your life.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think like for planning events, I'm very much like, okay, like 8 a.m. we got to set up the food, and 9 a.m. we got to ask people to start getting the food and that kind of thing.
Right.
But with my NI, like when I try to think about like, you know,
Your future marriage.
yeah, like and then also like, yeah, jobs and like, do I want to be doing the same thing 5 years down the line? And that kind of thing. I'm pretty flexible. I think I like had like 5 different NI plans with regards to my career now. And for every one of them, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be it. And then I changed. And then yeah, I just kind of like feel my tribe getting confused around that
Right.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So like
that's
you're more go with the flow, more in the moment, less worrying about planning. So do you have like the control issues too, like getting locked into something that you can't leave?
yeah, I have a lot. Yeah, I had like I think my biggest NI struggles relate to my career. Like, would I want to be doing the same thing? Thing is, I don't think I could because with my job, you kind of like hit a glass. Well, you kind of hit a ceiling if you don't get a grad school degree.
Right.
Then the and I'm kind of approaching the end of my life cycle, or of like the typical life cycle. So then the question is, do I want to get a grad school degree? Do I want to get another job? Um,
You
and
mean your
and
life
like
cycle in the job? You mean like
yeah,
you're hitting the right? You're hitting the top that you can ever get to in the job. Okay.
yeah. So it's a lot of like like if I want to go to grad school, what kind of grad school? If I want to get a second job, like what do I like? What would I look for in that next job? And every single time people ask me about what I am gonna do, I have a different answer. And it's
Right.
not that like I don't feel like I keep changing my mind. It's just that like, oh, I kind of do keep changing my mind. It's just that I keep aligning myself with different NI paths. So it's
Different
not that like I'm
possibilities.
about it. Yeah, it's just that
Do they
I
seem like possibilities to you, or like really real single paths at the moment?
um it's kind of like an evolving thing. When I first like like started like aligning myself to my NI paths, it was like, okay, this is gonna be it. And then like a
Right.
couple months later, wait, this is gonna be it. But now I
Right.
feel like I'm holding it loosely.
Right. Yeah, that's very opposite to any, because any would be like, I got this possibility, this possibility, this possibility. But NI is like, yeah,
Hmm.
this path or this path or this path. It's not a possibility. It's like right now it's this. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your play. When do you use your play?
I play a lot when I like hang out with friends
Right.
and stuff. Yeah, so like I'm a pretty like high energy type of person.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
With the play blast.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get very like excited very easily. So yeah, I think that like yeah, whenever I'm in social settings, that tends to come out a lot.
Right. And so then the ST, is it, are you into like sports? Are you into, yeah?
No,
No.
I'm not very sporty at all.
No.
And playing sports actually makes me really nervous.
Right.
Because like I don't feel like I control my body really well.
Okay.
Um,
So then
yeah.
how does the play come out as ST? How do you see that come out? Like the clarity?
Um. Well, with the it's a very sensory play because it's all grounded in reality. Like
Right.
when I think about my play moments, it's always like group dinners, or just group hangouts.
Right.
There's this gathering my college friends do every year. So like 20 or so of my college friends, we try to like rent an Airbnb every year and just go chill at a house. That's like a very like play heavy environment because like there's like 20 different people that I get to interact with,
Right.
and they're people I haven't seen in a while. So yeah, we like get very rowdy very quickly. So like that's a sensory part of my play, I feel like. Or like when I see the S, when I see the T is more when I kind of like poke fun at people. Like I'm pretty like okay with that. Like maybe because of the double deciding, but yeah, I feel like just like, like poking fun at people's like quirks and behaviors, and like that tends to be a more of a T thing, I think.
Right. Do you tend to procrastinate sometimes, or no? You always get your stuff done.
I'm definitely a procrastinator. Yeah, I think I work better under stress.
Yeah. And your procrastination is usually consuming? Is that what you're doing when you're procrastinating?
Um, or playing. Like when I think about college procrastination, it's like very like play heavy.
Play heavy. One play for another.
Yeah. And then when I'm at work, do I procrastinate? I feel like it's still like a pretty like play procrastinate too. Like if I know that I have
Okay.
something to do with this project that that I don't want to, then I just kind of pick up other projects and I pick up spot tasks for other people.
Oh,
So it's, yeah, like one play for another. Or I think I sleep procrastinate too.
really?
Yeah, because like with my like for example, if I'm kind of going through a really rough like decider issue time, then it kind of like weighs really heavy on my mind, and like I know that if I don't sleep process it, then it's just gonna like follow me around. So like I try really hard to like sleep process it actually.
Right.
um
Yeah, you have that NF sleep processing, so that should be really people oriented. Is it? Yeah.
yeah, it's very people oriented. It's very like let me figure out like what I like
Yourself,
really
yeah.
like why I behave in a certain way and why other people behave in a certain way. So it's like it's less so of that like forward looking an eye, but backward looking an eye.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I find that too, that sleep is more back looking than forward looking.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah,
it,
but
it
like,
still does forward looking, but it's like back looking for the purpose of forward looking. I don't know.
oh yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. But I need to spend a lot of time on my sleep though.
Yeah.
I
Like,
think
do you get bored easy?
I do get bored really easily, and
Like,
yeah, yeah, like I don't like obviously sleep looks different for different people,
yes,
and
exactly.
like I find it really hard just sitting there and like thinking. Like I like my mind just wanders really easily, um, and even when I'm kind of like writing out something, it's just like doesn't work. I sleep the best when I blast, which is why I tend
Right.
to not know how long I'm talking for.
Right. Yeah,
But
yeah. There's another person I interviewed, Austin, who was saying the same thing. Like the only way he sleeps is by blasting, and then it'll get that sleep out somehow. Yeah. Lots of people actually said that is by writing in their journal, and then they go back and look at it, and they can see what they were. Yeah. Interesting.
yeah, yeah. So
Cool.
like I always feel bad for my tribe too because I enjoy I enjoy blasting because that's because like mainly because that's where I get my sleep, which is
Right.
why I like talking about myself, which sounds really selfish and narcissistic. And I think I like that's why I like fear that people like see it that way, that I'm taking much up too much like time in the air. But I really enjoy doing this kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's your third function, so it should also like your third animal, so it should also be like your hobby. So
Yeah.
yeah. Is there another way you can get it out other than talking about yourself, like journaling or something like that?
I don't know. People do tell me that like, well, like for like this type of person, like journaling helps, but I don't think journaling really does it for me
Right.
unless I'm talking to another person while
Uh,
I'm journaling. Yeah. So I have like I use Evernote, and like I have like a lot of
right.
folder notes in them. I have like a folder that's just called like letters, and that like I just like put in.
So who do you blast
Um,
to most then? Your fiance?
um, we're not engaged yet, so he's not my
All right.
fiance. But I blast to whoever I have a decider issue with.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like lately it's been a close friend.
Right.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of like, oh, like, I'm mad at you for doing that. I yeah, just like talking about like what our relationship was like before. So it's like a close friend that I'm like having like decider problems with.
Right.
Um, or I imagine that I'm talking to my small group at church because
Right.
that's like that's another very kind of like life issue heavy type of blast.
Right.
Like this is like all the things that have been going on in my life.
Interesting. Well, thank you
Yeah.
very much, Andrea. That was awesome. Thank you very much for letting us into your personality a little bit, letting us share. Do you have anything you want to promote, or a website or YouTube channel, or any last final words of wisdom that you want to give us?
Um,
Anything loaded?
no,
No.
no. It's not like
Anything about
I
your
guess
type? Yeah, go ahead.
um yeah, I do really enjoy being in the YouTube. I mean, being in the Facebook groups and stuff. I know I usually just lurk. I don't really say anything because I know that keeping up a tribe is hard work and is like a commitment. But
Right.
yeah, I do enjoy reading about everyone's like what everyone writes and stuff. And I, yeah, hope to slowly start interacting with you guys a little more.
Nice. Yeah. So thank you very much. So goodbye, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Oh yeah, bye everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.